So this is a really interesting chapter because Sukuna and the audience are trapped inside of Yuji's domain expansion, where we're subjugated to this interestingly odd slice of life sequence that ultimately ends in something really cool. Actually, one of the coolest sequences in the series, where it's probably showing us how Yuji is going to kill Sukuna, because that seems like an inevitability at this point. So coming in from the previous chapter, we saw that it came down to Yuji taking on Sukuna, also a Sukuna who just regained his reverse curse technique and basically regenerated back to like his full form. Meaning now, in theory, he could use the world-cutting dismantle again since he has all his limbs. And Yuji has been trying to hit Sukuna with his own version of dismantle that can target his soul and the boundary between Sukuna and Megumi's soul. But Sukuna's just too agile and he's not able to land cleanly. So then Yuji remembered back to when Gojo explained how domain expansions work to him and how a technique can be applied to the domain itself as its sure hit move. Then after that, Yuji activated his own domain expansion for the first time in the series, where presumably he's going to apply his soul-cutting dismantle to the sure hit of it. But once he activated the domain expansion, it suddenly took them to like a different place, where Sukuna looks like how he does when he possesses Yuji's body, and Yuji looks normal. And coming into this chapter, Sukuna's like, I've experienced this before, the rare phenomenon of connecting with a sorcerer during the height of battle. I had thought that it was a side effect of some sort due to cursed energy being born from humans. Yet this is different. What is this? Your domain? So previously I thought Sukuna was talking about Yuji's interaction with Choso and Todo, where they had like these false memories of him being their brother, but no, Sukuna's talking about his own experience, and I assume that he's talking about when he's defeated characters like Kashimo, where he went to like this afterlife sequence with him after he killed him and was able to have like this one last conversation with him. And that's basically what's happening here with Yuji and Sukuna, because they may or may not be dead at this point, or approaching death. Even Yuji, he knows that he's probably going to die in the resolution of this sequence. But then after Sukuna asked Yuji like if this is his domain, Yuji's like, you know, shut up, I did this frantically, I really don't get it either. So not even Yuji understands what this is. He had only just figured out how to activate a domain expansion in the last month, doing that body swap training with Kusakabe, to where Kusakabe's muscle memory would remain with Yuji, so he could learn way faster. Hey, but real quick guys, you should check out GamerSupps in case you haven't already. They're a great energy supplement that can help you with gaming, studying, or anything that really you want to do. They come in caffeine and caffeine free, and they also have nootropics in it like L-theanine, L-tyrosine, and choline L-bitartrate. So it's not just, you know, regular caffeine. It makes you really feel good and focused. If you're looking for a tub to buy, check out the new flavor Nuclear Bombsicle by Casio. It tastes just like a bombsicle. This is already one of my favorite flavors. They also have these awesome sus bars, which are only 100 calories and only has 1 gram of sugar and 8 grams of protein. My favorite flavor is the chocolate. I cannot get enough of these things. They also have Gamer Tea in both caffeinated and non-caffeinated. I personally really like the caffeine-free Sleepy Time with theanine. You can also get some of these awesome gamer soups, which I absolutely love. So guys, check the link in the description and make sure to use code BIGZ for 10% off. Thanks guys. So I guess he's kind of just doing this on the fly, activating his domain expansion, and then what happens within it is kind of just like a spur of the moment, stream of consciousness type thing, where Yuji's able to just go to a different reality altogether. Like he's seemingly visiting these cities or these places that he grew up. Like they're walking around it like it's like a video game or something. Like they're the only people there. And for some reason, Sukuna is just cool with this, because Yuji's like, you know, I wanted time to talk to you, so just indulge me for a second. And Sukuna does. Like they walk around these places and things that Yuji saw or did as a kid, and Sukuna just listens to Yuji talk about it, which is really interesting. And it goes back to me thinking like Yuji is essentially accepting death here. Like, this is his one last moment to like relive his life or things that he's done in his life, I guess. And it also shows us like how little we know about Yuji. Despite him being the main character, we don't really know much about his backstory, him growing up, or things about him in general. Like the things that he reveals in this chapter the first time we find out about it. Like, for example, he says like he lived here until he was 6 or 7 and then moved to Sendai. He was born in Sendai and he lived there for his grandpa's work. Another thing is that we still are not getting any info on like his parents, like what happened to them. I mean, we know that his mom, Kaori, was taken over by Kenjaku, but we still don't know, like, did he take her over and then become Yuji's mom? Or was it like before? Was she already interested in Yuji's dad, Jin? And then it's like after Yuji was born, then Kenjaku like left Kaori's body and killed Yuji's father? Like, we still don't know. And at this point, I wonder if we ever will. But after going around the city more and doing a few more things, like fishing for these crayfish and then firing arrows and whatnot, it eventually gets to the point of where Sukuna's like annoyed. And he's like, enough already. And Yuji goes into like another monologue. And while it's happening, we see like all of the deceased characters that meant something to him. Like, we see his grandfather, we see Junpei, Nanami, Choso, Gojo, Mahito, and then we see Nobara. And I guess this confirms that Nobara is in fact dead. I mean, Gege kind of confirmed it himself in a Q&A that he recently did at like his art exhibit in Shibuya. But I guess this fully confirms it. Like, yeah, Nobara is dead. She is not coming back in like the next chapter. She's not gonna have like a Todo appearance where she comes to save the day at the last second. It's like, nah, she's dead. Mahito killed her. So yeah, thanks for playing. But then when we come back to real time, Sukuna's like, you know, I'm dumbfounded by how cowardly you're being. It's like all that rage towards me, your hatred. Is this what it all amounted to? Like, he's basically saying like, you're trying to talk no jutsu me after all of our history and the big final war battle that we just had. He's like, are you pitying me? Is this your way of showing compassion? And Yuji's like right on the mark, and then suddenly his demeanor changes and he just goes on like demon time. And he's like, Sukuna, I can kill you. Release Fushiguro and return to my body and I'll spare your life. So this was such a cool 180. Really exciting stuff here because Yuji just suddenly drops the act. And he's like, yeah, I can kill you. Which I think means that Sukuna is already trapped. Like, Sukuna just existing inside of Yuji's domain here means that I guess Yuji can just hit him at any time he wants with the cleave. Or maybe even dismantle. Maybe he could do both now. But either way, he can one-shot Sukuna with the cleave that's going to target his soul and the boundary between Megumi's. But maybe he's having like difficulty fully doing it and saving Megumi at the same time, because he's like, hey, you know, I can kill you, but release Fushiguro, return to my body, and I'll spare your life. And that could also be like a little white lie right there, because if Sukuna does release Megumi and return to Yuji's body, then Yuji would technically spare his life, but Yuji would take his own life. Because I'm thinking that's what he wants to do here. He wants to have Sukuna back in his own body, and then Yuji, you know, takes himself out and deletes Sukuna in the process. So he did hold up his end of the bargain. And we all kind of assumed that this was going to be the ending anyway. Like Yuji taking himself out in the process of taking Sukuna out. Like, it goes all the way back to, I think, when he was talking to Gojo, when he was at like his grandfather's, I don't even know what you call that, like his cremation. They have like this special type of cremation in Japan where like you see the bones and stuff. And also that he would ultimately die surrounded by loved ones, which still could happen here. I mean, if Megumi's still there after he takes Sukuna from him, then whoever else is left alive, you know, Todo will be there, maybe Angel. But yeah, that seems like this is where it's headed. Like, Sukuna might even be killed in the next chapter. But let me know what you think about this in the comments, guys. If you liked the video, please give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day and I'll see you in the next one.